Hello everyone, we are Amy Daniela Ramirez Lopez and Juan Sebastián Ordóñez Lemas. Today we are presenting the business plan formulation for our project, a pet supply online store, using the Gantt chart.
Exercise statement project scheduling in Excel. A small business plans to launch an online pet store in 2 months. The project manager must organize the activities, define their durations, and establish task dependencies. Using Excel, create a work breakdown structure, VBS, a table of activities including predecessors and duration, a Gantt chart to visualize the project timeline, a simple project budget calculation, and the objective is to identify the project sequence and prepare the schedule for execution. And VBS overview, but only store this VBS breaks the project into three clear phases to ensure a successful launch. Then planning, it is the strategy. We define the scope, research the market, and select vendors to build a solid foundation. Then as third, we have development. It is the build. We design the store, create the brand identity, and set up the payment gateway so the site is fully functional. And finally, we had the launch. It is the execution. We test everything, run the marketing campaigns, and officially open for business. Then we have project flow explanation. So we have first phase one. It is foundation initial design. It is activities A to F. So the project begins with the project scope definition A, which is the starting point for both market research and business model design. Once these strategic definitions are ready, we proceed to vendor selection. Then this milestone is crucial because it allows us to start the creative and technical build, the online store design, and the brand identity. These first six activities represent the transition from abstract planning to the physical look and feel of the business. And then for the phase two, it is technical setup and market entry. It has activities from G to L. The second half focuses on functionality and visibility. Based on the store design, we configure the payment gateway and begin the product log, which also requires the brand identity to be finished. And then simultaneously, the social media strategy is developed. After exhaustive functional testing of the site and the launch of the advertising campaign, we reach the final goal. So it is the official store launch, which can only happen once but the platform is stable and the audience is ready. About all this, the project follows a logical sequence where activity A, scope, acts as the primary trigger, branching into parallel strategic tracks for market research and business modeling. So this path's coverage at activity D, it is vendor selection, and then a critical junction that must be complete before any technical or creative work begins. So then from there, the workflow splits again into store design and brand identity. Interestingly, activity H as the bottleneck or integration point, as it requires both the functional website design and the visual brand assets to be ready. And finally, the project synchronizes the technical functional testing with the marketing campaign to ensure that the official launch occurs only when both the platform is stable and the audience has been reached.
Now, let's create the Gantt chart. We have two sheets, database and Gantt chart. First, select the main table and go to Insert Table. Choose a design that you like it and rename it Database. Do the same for the Holidays table and rename it Holiday, because in this case is just one holiday. Next, go to Formula, Name Manager, create a new name, select the date cell, and save. To calculate the end date, we're gonna use this formula and select the start date, add the duration, and we're gonna subtract 1. Include weekends and the holiday column. Then change the format from general to short date. Finally, for progress, divide days complete by total duration and change the format to percentage. To start the pivot table, copy the name of our first table and go to the second sheet. Go to Insert Pivot Table, paste the name and click Accept. Now we click and go to Pivot Table Options, uncheck Autofill column widths on Update. Under the Analyze tab, rename the table. In this case, we're gonna call Gantt. Now we move all the headers to the rows section. Go to the Design tab, select Report Layout, and choose Show in Tabular Form. Then turn off Grand Totals for both rows and columns, and select Do Not Show Subtotals under the Analyze type. Hide these buttons that we're gonna select now. Next, select the Progress column, go to the Conditional Formatting, Data, Bars, and pick a color. To customize it, go to the Manage rule and then edit the rule. Finally, go to the Developer tab, insert a scroll bar and place it at the top. To finish, create a cell for the start date using this formula to find the earliest date in your column. Now right-click the scroll bar and go to the Format control. Set the current value to 0 and the minimum value to 0. Set the maximum value to the duration of your project, in this case 59, and we accept. Link the scroll bar to the cell F3. Now as you move the bar left or right, the value will change. Let's add the minimum date and the maximum date. To set up the timeline, select about these skinny columns. Now, in the first cell, enter equal and select the start date. In the next cell, add +1 to the previous one and drag the formula across all the 15 cells. Now the days will be shifted automatically when you move the scroll bar. Now let's create a formula to highlight holidays and weekends. Start with the equal sign and use the AND function. Select the first activity cell and lock it using $signs. We will also use the OR function combined with the weekday to identify Saturdays and Sundays. Next, add the XMatch function to cross-reference our holidays list. Once the formula is ready, copy it. Now we're gonna drag all the cells. Go to the conditional formatting, new rule, use a formula, and paste your formula there. Click to format and choose the design that you like. To highlight pending activities, we will use the AND function again. Select the first cell of the calendar and lock it. Check if it is greater than or equal to the start date and less than or equal to the end date. Then select the progress column and the set it equal to 0. And now we can select all these cells. Copy the new formula, go to the conditional formatting, new rule and paste it. Choose your style and move it the rule to the second position in the manager.
For our third formula, use the AND function again. Select and lock the first activity cell. Then select the first date in your calendar and lock that as well. We need to check if the date is greater than or equal to our start date and less than or equal to the end date. To do this, include the workday function subtracting 1 and referencing both weekends and holidays. Close the formula with two parentheses and copy it. Select all the cells in your grid, go to conditional formatting, new rule, and paste the formula. Choose a fill color and a border of the same color. And then for our final formula, we'll use the AND function once more. Select and lock the first activity cell, use less than or equal to and two commas. Then select your calendar day and lock it. Check if it's greater than or equal to the start date and less than or equal to the end date. Close the formula, copy it, and go to conditional formatting and then new row. Paste the formula and click format. Choose a light pink fill color, and for the border, select Y and uncheck the bottom line. And for final, you will have to click OK and move the rule to the bottom of the list, and that's it. We have finished their formulas for our mini calendar.
To wrap up this video, the first thing we're going to do is use the title Gantt Chart Dashboard. We'll arrange and style it according to our own personal taste and then we'll add our scroll bar. Our next step is go to the View tab and freeze the top panes. Then we're going to analyze the pivot table, insert the slicers, and select Project and Assign it. These two boxes will be appear and we'll arrange them to cover the formulas that we created previously.
Next, we'll track activity progress by creating three categories: not started, in progress, and complete. We'll use the conlif function for each. For not started, we'll set the criteria to equal 0 using an ampersand. For in progress, we'll use the same range, but this set the criteria between 0 and 1. And finally, for complete, we'll set it to equal 1. To visualize this, we'll insert a stacked bar chart. We'll remove the title, grid lines, and percentages, then match the colors to our mini calendar. Lastly, we'll wrap our formulas in an if statement to handle cases where the result is 0. Now let's create the formulas for our budget chart. We'll set up total budget and assigned budget by summing their respective columns. So next we'll calculate the assigned percentage and the remaining budget. To get the percentage, we'll divide the assigned budget by the total. For the remaining part, we'll simply subtract the assigned value from 1. We'll format both results as percentages and insert a donut chart. And finally, we'll remove the title, add data labels, and customize the colors to our liking.
As an optional final touch, we'll refine the aesthetics by removing the films and borders from our charts. Then, under the Insert tab, we'll go to Illustrations and select the rectangle. We'll stretch it out, change the background to white, remove the outline, and send it to the back so our charts stand out. Next, we'll arrange everything to our liking and add the titles. For the activity tracker, we'll name it General Progress and position it as needed. We also add a budget title and insert the assigned budget value. Feel free to add icons or emojis to give it your own style. Finally, I'll add a tick border to the corners for the main frame. And that's everything we need for our Gantt chart.